Don't touch the keyboard. Okay, our second inductee is Chrissy Carew. Chrissy is MCC certified. She is a Coach U mentor coach. She is past VP of ICF National. She had a TV show on WMUR TV Channel 9 in New Hampshire, which focused on coaching. Is that the one with the little wagon?
Yes.
Yeah. She's been featured on CBS, ABC, and WBZ Radio. And right now she's working on a cool project called Insightful Player, which is a project which focuses on inspiring stories from NFL players to demonstrate how these players have conquered barriers. And it's wicked cool on some of the players that she's talked to. So ladies and gentlemen, fellow coaches, family and friends, our second ICF NE inductee into the Hall of Fame, Miss Chrissy Carew.
Thank you very much. This is such a huge honor. I am deeply, deeply, deeply touched. And Ted asked me to speak upon what inspires me as a coach. Well, the biggest thing that really is that I'm in complete awe of the immense power of the human spirit and the goodness of humanity. That is the source of everything that inspires me. It is the source that's helped me create visions throughout all these years as a coach. And in addition to that, I live for the underdog. I love the underdog. So back when I first started coaching, it was like the Wild West. You know, nobody knew what a coach was. You know, you'd tell people, "Oh, I'm a coach." "Oh, soccer?" You know. Gymnastics, what is it? And in some ways, though, I think it was easier for us because it was exciting for people. Ooh, a coach. Because back in those days, it was only those deep-pocketed executives that had a coach. And we were out coaching Joe and Jane Average American. And it was so invigorating, so invigorating. And I was very fortunate right early on. I got on the ICF board, and I headed up the PR. And that was really, really another wild, wild west. The first conversation I had with the media was, sure sounds like a cult to me. And the media, and I was so privileged to be working on the PR committee because I got to hear all the wonderful stories of what all you people were doing with your clients. It just inspired me so much and reinforced that immense power of the human spirit and the profound goodness of humanity. And that is the very source of everything for me that kept me going and continues to today. And I had some initial thoughts when I first started coaching, like, can you imagine if we all had coaches when we were children? Where would the world be today? Can you imagine that? And then I went on to think, what if we could have a coach? Every child in the world could have a coach now. Wouldn't that be grand? How would that help our world? That would be really, really incredible. And another thought I had when I first started coaching is, boy, wouldn't it be fun to work in the NFL? I love sports. I grew up in sports. My father was a high school football player and my role model and one of those bigger-than-life kind of guys. And he used the game as a way to really help kids build character and learn valuable life skills. And it had a huge impact on me. My other role model sitting right there, my mother, who's 90 years old, Catholic. And one of the biggest lessons she taught me was, when I was 12, going through that awkward stage, braces, I was chubby, my hair was like bozo. And my best friend, Barbara Lawford, never went through those stages. She was beautiful right from get-go, and still today, we're still friends. And I was feeling just, ugh. And so my mother, in addition to reminding me of what my qualities were, she said, you know, what do you think about this? What if you go out into the neighborhood and lift the spirits of someone that could really use it? And I did. I went over to visit Mrs. Hegarty, who was usually pretty grouchy, but we always went over because she had these great butter cookies. And so I went to visit Mrs. Hegarty. I knocked on her door, and she says, I don't have any cookies today. I said, that's all right. I just wanted to come visit. It was one of the most precious moments of my life still. She just lit up like a Christmas tree, and that had a huge impact on my life, and I couldn't get over how empowered I felt when I left Mrs. Hegarty's, and I ran home to tell you, Mom. So I just want to thank my mother, because that has been a huge principle that I use in my coaching as well. And coaching has been such an amazing experience. I mean, I think we're also fortunate to be in this environment. I mean, what we do for a living is changing the world. And over the years, I just felt so blessed. But then it came a point where I started to answer my pants. I wanted to do more. I had this vision of helping the masses. And then I felt like a big fat imposter. Like, who am I to help the masses? You know? And I had a while before I could really warm up to that and say, yes, that's why I'm here. And so I struggled with that, of how to do it, and finally figured it out. And it took a while, but it wasn't such a smooth ride, because I started really worrying about children. You know, who's leading our children today? You know, where are their role models? Role models are falling down left and right. And it's just been so frustrating. And then I thought about my original desire to work with the NFL, and thinking about all the lessons I learned from my dad. And I just looked at that stage as completely wasted. They have the worldwide stage with so many fans, and in particular kids really look up to them. So what if we could take that, create some more role models? And I tried that for a while, and I reached out to all 32 teams. I wanted to bring my coaching services to the NFL, and they had some marginal interest, and it took about 1.5 years, but I came up empty. I was so frustrated because I felt like God put that idea in my heart. So I have a coach, and it's something I highly recommend for all of us to always have a coach. So I went back to my coach. I was so discouraged, and we figured out, let's look at this a different way. And we came up with, why don't we make them an offer they can't refuse? So I was frustrated there weren't enough stories in the world that were positive, right? We're always inundated with these stories of doom and gloom and empty sensationalism. So I went back to the drawing board. This time I called the PR department. Why on earth I didn't know how obvious that was, because I had a PR company for 10 years before becoming a coach. Oh, I don't know. So I went back and I called the PR departments. I said, okay, I want to interview the highest integrity guys. You know, the ones, I don't want any showboats, and they want to have to inspire kids, and they have to be really excited about it. If they don't do flips and cartwheels to get to this interview, they're not a good match. Nice. And I said, and it's a spiritual project. I was afraid to say that, but I said it, and I kept saying it. And that's the whole basis of Insightful Player. And my coaching now is working with NFL players who are going to open a lot of doors for all of us. Because Insightful Players, the book is coming out in August. We have we have 32 players on the roster, past and present. They have very inspiring stories that are very personal. They share, they've been through some horrific horrific experiences. And there are many children in the world going through that, and we're just not aware of it. We don't live in that world. So these players are also humble, and they're also loving. And once the book comes out, then we're going to have the players begin to create some events with the children. We've hooked up with the National Education Association, and they're really excited. We're going to have our players go across the country and speak to children, especially in underserved areas. And then from there, I'm going after sponsors to bring all of you in. We're going to follow up all the player events with coaching for children. So I'm really excited about that because I can't imagine where our world is going. I do believe we're at a crossroads of transformation and obliteration. But I do believe that going back to the power of the human spirit and the goodness of humanity, and I really think it's the children that are going to move us to evolution and transformation. And I really am on a campaign, Disciple Players, a bold movement of hope, to get these kids to really recognize their gifts, their talents, introduce them to community service at a young age, and also introduce them to mentorship, to mentor younger kids. And I really think they're going to make the difference. So, back to the early days when I first started coaching, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be grand if every child had a coach? Thank you for this beautiful award.